Hey everyone, welcome to the Atlanta Divorce Law Group's Facebook Live. I am attorney Sarah Kaki, and I am just giddy with excitement today over our guest. It's the career coach Becky Berry, and I've known Becky now for close to a year, and we have worked together on transitioning a lot of our clients and some of her clients into moving from one career to another, or a lot of them re-entering the career, but basically the workforce for the first time. Becky has a fantastic story. Becky is full of energy, and so when we get together, we just have such a great time talking about how to help our clients make a smooth transition into their next chapter, whether male, female, they have worked before, they haven't worked before, and they're just trying to find their life after going through a divorce.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
You know, my meetup group is called Next Chapter.
Yeah?
Yeah, you just
there
said
you go.
So,
this is our chemistry, Becky. Right? It always works.
Our brains.
So, Becky, before we start talking about our clients and what we're doing for them and all the amazing things you're doing, helping men and women transition into their next chapter,
right?
Tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to become a career coach.
I came to career coaching by way of 7 other careers. Most recently, like 5 years ago, I had a 7-year career of teaching. So people go, "Oh, you retired?" I'm like, "No, I quit. Thank you," because my husband passed away.
Yeah.
And I had built this career in special ed around having somebody to go home and decompress with, because I do behaviors, which is why I'm a good coach, because I get strategies and how to jump you over those humps and things you're scared of. But I had the behavior kids, and it's really, really intense. So when I would go home or I would call, I'm like, "Oh, come get me." You know, he'd just drive over to school and pick me up, but then he was gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. And, you know, I've owned a business before. I've owned a software company. Bo and I did. But this time I had to do it by myself.
Yeah.
Which was really different. I mean, he set me up to do it because he's always like, "Becky, you can do whatever you can want to." And he never said the word "but," which is what everybody else said.
Yeah.
He just goes, "You can do this. Come on, do this, do this." So I did. So this time, I'm like, I don't know. Listen, I turned in my papers to my school before I even knew what I was going to do. I just went, "I'm not coming back. I can't do this."
That was the part. You had to make a decision that you're not going back.
Right.
What you were going to do, the how, was going to reveal itself.
Right, exactly. So, you know, at the time I was a fanatic with my Fitbit on the 10,000 steps. So I'm walking around North Point Mall with a girlfriend who happens to be in HR. And I'm like, you know, startup, da-da. She goes, "Yeah, you should have your own startup. You should be a career coach." And just like that, it was done. Because it just felt right. And I've had that happen a couple of times. But this time I was like, "Christina."
But this is why I love your story so much, because you have the ultimate credibility for doing what you do, helping people transition into their new career or their next life. And that's because you had a career that was based around done twice. That was based around your family and your marriage.
Yeah.
And when that no longer existed, you had to find something that worked for you, and you were gonna be able to sustain on your own.
Right, exactly. The first time I didn't reinvent myself. I don't use that word, because I'm taking all that with me. I'm going forward.
Yeah.
I'm not trashing anything.
Yeah.
I evolved. I stayed home for 12 years with my son.
Yeah.
And then I went back to work. So I've been on both sides of this.
Yeah.
You know, I was working before I did the career coaching, and I had another career before that too. But before that, I was mom and a full-time volunteer.
Yeah.
You know, the whole mom.
And that's where so many of our clients find themselves.
It's so hard.
Especially the women who have been stay-home moms with the children and helped take care of everything at the home so the husband can go and build his career. And when a divorce happens, now she has to get back into the workforce somehow.
So scary.
You know, it's very rare that alimony lasts so long that they can continue to live status quo.
Right.
So they have to make a change.
Right.
And they find you. So tell us, what is a career coach?
A career coach is somebody, and since I work with a lot of women and who are going back, I now call it "I help you stage your career comeback." Because you probably had a career before, and even if you're a mom, you have this wicked set of skills that people want. You just don't know how to talk about it.
So let's talk about some of the skills. Management skills?
Yeah, project management.
Project management?
The hottest field out there.
I would say even sales skills. Having to influence your kids every morning to get out of bed and go to school.
Have you ever had this client sit across from me and said, you know, I haven't worked in 15 years. You know, when I was a volunteer, we decided to set up a foundation for the school, and I raised $70,000. I went, name 4 people you know who work, who've raised $70,000. I'm like, there you go. Yeah. This is it. And they're like, oh. Like, the language that society uses to talk about people who stay at home, because I know stay-at-home dads, it's just so dismissive.
It is. And I personally, I'm not a stay-home mom, but I consider them to do a much more difficult job than I do. Even going to the bathroom, even eating, feeding yourself, all those things require planning.
Right?
You just don't, you have constant planning around you, and everybody's
logistics.
Day, and logistics. Everybody's day revolves around you. So it's a big job.
Well, and those are 2 like gigantic skills. Project management's hot. Logistics is hot right now. So there are all kinds of things you can do. Listen, if you have a Facebook page, come on, raise your hand out there. Come on, I know. Because I'm watching you on Facebook. I'm looking at those baby pictures. I'm like, oh, look, school dance, you know. But if you have a Facebook page and you do Insta and you do Twitter, you're already like a quarter of a way to a new career right there. Yeah. Because social media marketing is a big deal. Yeah. And you don't even know you're doing it. Yeah. You don't even know you're doing it. That's what I do.
So when they find you, tell me about the process you help them go through.
Well, we start with this great evaluation that I love. Oh, I'm supposed to have sent you, and I never did it. It's called the Fascination Advantage, which gives you this new way of looking at yourself using marketing terms. Because the woman who wrote it is like this really high-level marketer, Coca-Cola, Mercedes, whatever. So instantly when they come to me and we've done this and we go through it, they go from this, literally, I've seen this happen, to, oh, that's me. And then we go through work values. All these things happen all at the same time. We explore careers. What did you want to do here, there? What have you done? I just go deep dive into all of that stuff. Yeah. And then I have this new strategy called Window Shop Your Way to Work, because women and window shopping, that's really rigorous. Yeah. And very leading edge. Nobody's doing anything like it, where we actually harness the power of all the online job sites to help you figure out who you are at work. And that, first getting out of mom brain, or whatever brain you're in when you're getting a divorce. I have 2 sisters who are divorced. I married a divorced guy, so I kind of know this brain. I have friends, you know, at a certain age, you have tons of friends who are divorced. So get over all that. Yeah. Move past it. Yeah. Right? Get through it. That kind of thing. And then the next piece is, who am I at work? Who do I want to be at work?
And how fun that you get to choose who you want to be. Right. What a great concept. Right. That's so great.
And that's half of my job.
It's helping them figure out who they want to be.
It is supporting them as they learn to believe that they can choose.
And believing in all the value that they have to the community and to the workforce that they're not even aware of. Right. So what makes it so difficult for a person who, whether they want to change career and come into a completely different industry, or who want to enter the workforce after many years of being out of it, what makes that so difficult?
Well, let's do the first one. Okay. I mean, the second one. It's the hardest.
Okay, the second one, which is entering the workforce for the first time.
After you've been at home, caring for family, whatever you've been doing. I have to keep notes on this because there's things I forget.
Yeah, please.
So, I didn't write down. Self-worth. When you're at home, you feel like you have no value. Yeah. Because society tells you you have no value, unless you have a spouse who tells you that. And if they're seeing you, I'm sure that did not happen. So, you know, that's part of it.
It's very rare.
that whole self-worth. Oh, you stay at home. Yeah. And you know, women can be mean. Yeah. People can be mean, unintentionally, family members. So there's that, I call it mom brain.
Well, I think also what happens in the divorce process specifically, Becky, is when we're coming down to the settlement talks and we're negotiating. Right. So much of the negotiation comes down to, what value did you bring? Right. So what do you get to walk away with? And to have that conversation can be incredibly demoralizing for 2 people, because how many other life events do you go through where you literally 2 people come together and they're each trying to get more by minimizing the value of the other person? Right. And then you come out of that and now you have to decide, what am I even worth? Right. Outside of this?
Well,
after you've gone through this war where you've been told that you're not worth much and that's why you're only going to get this or get that.
yeah, right, exactly. Luckily for us now, they've studied it. So they actually have, people have researched it and assigned values to what moms do, what stay-at-home parents do. And I would think that's pretty powerful in your situation. But I do get them. I get them after that. I get them in the middle. One of the clients I sent you, I got in the middle. And it's just, everything has been like shaken up and dropped upside down. And you're like, what do I do now? Where do I even start? Mm-hmm. I mean, even after they see you, they still don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because it's just so hard. So the other part is it's hard to imagine, and this one, this is why you have happily ever after divorce.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine how you could possibly move forward. It's so intimidating, which is why one of the things I do in all my programs is I help build community. Mm-hmm. Because if you're with other women who are going through the same process, you're not alone. I mean, and it is so isolating.
Well, one of the problems I see too is with making that step and imagining moving forward is because they yet have not self-identified themselves with the person that they want to become. Mm-hmm. They're still identifying themselves with the person they are currently, which is they don't know what that is right now.
Well, and that's what happened to me when I lost my husband 5 years ago, is I had to look at all that and go, well, who am I going to be now?
Yeah.
Luckily, I've done it a lot, so that was good. But it's just you can't even explain what that's like to not even know who you are. And I'm somebody with a really firm foundation, but I remember just going, I don't even know what to do. I mean, I don't even know how to talk about myself.
Yeah.
I'm somebody, I haven't worn my wedding ring since he died because I can't put it on my hand. I get like freaked out when I do it. Yeah. And so that's like take my brain and shake it up and I'm like, what do I do with that? And how does that help me go forward?
So is that the most challenging part then of somebody that hasn't been in the workforce for many years getting back? It's really what's going on in their own head.
Oh yeah.
What about from the employer side? What barriers do they have to overcome there? Is that a whole nother session between us?
Oh my gosh, these companies are so ignorant. There's some companies in Atlanta that are amazing. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I'm finding them. I'm just going to call one out, Cox.
Yeah.
Cox is crazy. They'll hire you if you're over 40, and they appreciate your value.
That's
but
fantastic.
Companies don't appreciate. They say they want it. They say they want reliable people. They say they want people who have initiative. They say they want this, but they don't. They want to. This is what my son said, who's 25, when he's applying for jobs. They want a 20-year-old with 20 years of experience.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
So now here comes the coaching part of knowing how to talk about yourself in context of work that you're doing, which is what this window shop strategy does, and knowing how to network your way, which is so intimidating. Network your way into the right place or job or the right situation.
Right.
And that's just, it's intimidating, but I just love it because the power in being able to say what you want to do, why you want to do it, and how you want to do it. People forget the how you want to do it. Where? What are my values? What do I want to see in this company that I'm working for? It's like nothing else. It's just
so. Do you do any? I mean, I would imagine part of the conversation you have with a lot of your clients and is basically go into that interview and tell them all the reasons they should want you and need you rather than why you need them.
Right.
Because that's the energy shift, right? And
exactly.
that's the energy shift that a lot of people that feel insecure and are having that self-identity issue have a hard time going in and saying, here's all the things I can do for you, and here's all the reasons you want me. I can bring so much value to you.
Here's the problem I solve for you. That's how I like net it out. And in that window shop strategy, it's an organic thing.
Yeah.
So that by the end of it, you haven't pasted, I read this job description, I can make my resume match it, now I'm going to paste that on top of me. No, it's who you are. Because it's so rigorous and it's so, it's hard. It's hard. But when you can use language, when you're in an interview that shows them that you know what they want and how they work and all that, then they can picture you in the job. And when somebody can picture you in the job, you get it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
one thing I have personally found as an employer is people who have been out of the workforce for some time, when they come in, they have this like fire in their belly to prove themselves on a whole nother level. Whereas the ones that may have been in the workforce for a while and have been, you know, attracting a lot of different employers, they seem to have this other energy about them that's more like, well, you know, I don't really need this, or you know, and it's just, I see a whole different fire in the ones that are there and want to prove themselves and want to learn and just grab as much as they can.
And I think I think you bring up a great point, because another thing that people forget in these situations is being a lifelong learner, not being afraid of learning things, is gigantic. Because when you're in an interview and you're somebody who likes to learn things, you give a better interview.
Yeah.
It's just critical. It's critical, and you're so right. I just want to show people what I can do. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. Which, by the way, is the 22-year-old too.
Yeah,
just give me a chance. So it's a great synergy there.
It is.
Have 22-year-old clients.
Tell me, so is it really that different? Making a move from one industry to another versus just entering the workforce brand new?
It's much easier.
It is much easier making
it's
a
all
change
about
in
that
industry.
work history.
Yeah.
It's all about, I had a job yesterday, I had a job last year, I had a job 2 years ago. So that's not a hump you have to jump over. And again, we go through the same process if you're changing industries. We go through the window shop thing so that you acquire the vocabulary and the way of looking at yourself in the work that means in any interview they just see you. They can see, yep, this is a fit. She uses my words. You know, she knows how we do things. Yeah.
And Becky, for the benefit of anybody that is watching this, and we will be sharing this with all of our clients that are thinking about what are all the things that you'll do for them during the process. So you window shop with them. After the window shopping, what are the next steps that you work them through?
Out of the window shopping, which we start like when you're window shopping for a dress, you start here, right?
Yeah.
And you get smarter. And you get smarter, and you can describe that dress better and better and better and better. So by the end of window shopping, then you know how to describe who you are at work. So which means you can do your LinkedIn profile. You can write a resume. You can write a cover letter.
And you work with them on all this.
We do all that.
Okay.
But and that's what comes out of it.
Okay.
Plus, and again, it's all organic. Your pitch, which is when you're at a Christmas party and they go, "Gee, what are you doing now? Just get a divorce?"
Yeah.
Well, here's what I want to do. And boom, people can attach to it. Because when people know who you are, then they can find you.
Yeah.
So when you like niche it down, which means, make it smaller and smaller, you get that on LinkedIn, you can tell your friends, you're networking, then what you're looking for will find you because you know who you are.
Well, I also think that, speaking from an employer side again, when you see a resume that hasn't really identified what their passion is and what their focus is, you're just sort of like, well, this person's just a jack of all trades, master of none, and it's not as exciting to look at.
Well, yeah.
Whereas when you see somebody that just focuses their resume in on one major thing that is their passion, you can consistently see how, even if they hadn't worked, but they've express that passion other ways, like through charity work or whatever, you're like, okay, well, this is for real. They're not trying to just get a job. They're really trying to follow their purpose.
Well, this is great. I had this conversation this week with a client who's in my career boot camp, which is for women who are re-entering the workforce. The one she's in, I have two. And she's been at home for 20 years. She goes, well, what do I do with my volunteer experience? I'm like, it's a job, honey. Yeah. Put it right there with the job. She goes, not at the bottom. I'm like, what? See, mom brain. No, it's a job. You showed up. Not only and this is what really ticks me off with employers, they showed up without getting paid. Yeah. You know those people who are working for you? You're paying them. These women put in 20 hours a week with no pay. Forget being a mom, for the school, for the church, for whatever, for, Susan Komen, all those things. Zero. They were doing that while preparing for everybody to eat, everything else. And kids are yelling at them and then answering issues with school. Yeah. That's fantastic. Right? So tell me about the boot camp, because I'm really, really excited about this boot camp. Gosh. You saw the ads, right? With the sparkly boots? It was adorable. Did you love it? It was brilliant. It was supposed to be kick something too. Right?
I got the point. I got your point. I know you well enough to have known what you meant by it.
Right. A quick kick. I kept running across women who wanted coaching, couldn't pay the fee for full upfront coaching one-on-one. And again, since I'm all about community and building community and know how important that is to like reimagine who you are and evolve to the next thing, I just created a boot camp where we do, in career boot camp, we do a lot of technology stuff just to make sure your skills are top notch.
That is so great.
We do a mini version of window shopping. We do a lot of hopes and fears where we like put them on the wall and see where we are on these things. And the technical stuff is great. The community of women who understand that they're not the only ones going through this is just, it's the best. And it's only 6 people. So you get a lot of individual attention, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
So it's just very powerful. Then I'm kicking off in 2 weeks a boot camp. I call it Boot Camp 2.0 for women who make 6 figures and above, because I have clients like that too. And again, I believe that there's so much power of community here that let's do it. So
Tell us a little bit about the story of the woman that does Boot Camp 2.0 that's making a 6-figure salary and finds himself needing a career coach. What is
I got 3 different stories
for
these 3 different women. So one of them had some surgery. So she's been out of work for just 5 months, which doesn't count. Just so you know, 5 months does not count. And she's like, I don't want to go back to that work. 1. 2, I might get laid off.
Yeah.
She didn't. But she's like,
prepare
when
herself.
she had that thought, she went, do I want to keep doing this? Is this the company I want to be working for? And she goes, no.
Yeah.
And 2. And that came from the other boot camp. She was a referral from the other boot camp, so that was crazy. And then the third one, she's been home for 10 years. And she's interesting because her kids range from in the 20s to 5 because, second family kind of stuff. And she just wasn't a fit for the women who were going back to work having been a mom forever or whatever, because she just has a different way of thinking, so she's in there. The whole, okay, this is why women don't go for coaching. Can I do this now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Women don't go for, ladies, listen. You pay for coaching for baseball. I'm gonna cry. You pay for music lessons and piano lessons. If you put your husband through college, you pay for his college. If you did those things, you are investing in them. Why are you not going to invest in you? Why are you not going to give yourself the opportunity to level up that you gave everybody else in your life? And that's why I have boot camp, okay? Because the difference in what I charge for straight up one-on-one and the difference in boot camp
is to kind of give them that entry point.
Is to give them an entry point.
You know, Becky, I feel so strongly about what you just said about why are women, men too, not investing in themselves as much as they will in their family.
Right.
And I think it's so much of it goes back to how our culture, and I don't agree with our culture doing this, honors self-sacrifice.
Right.
And what are we teaching our children when we sacrifice ourselves? That cycle of sacrificing yourself to put other people in front of yourself will only be learned by the children.
Right.
And if my children don't see me invest in myself and put myself first and put my own growth and value and invest in that, I'm not teaching them to do that. I'm investing in them doesn't teach them, my children are going to continue to invest in themselves.
Right.
When they're old enough, they're going to see, mom sacrificed herself for me, so now I have to sacrifice myself for an unhappy marriage, unhappy job situation, or what else have you. That's the last thing I want my children to learn. I hope women heard you on that, and men too, because we honor self-sacrifice.
But do you hear what you're saying? We're both wearing black and white. That's black and white thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the real cultural problem.
It is.
Is black and white thinking. Is if you're a woman, you do this. If you're a man, you do this, and there's nothing in between. But you do all that stuff, and you give back.
Yeah.
So they're getting to see the whole thing. It's not mutually exclusive. It's hard to navigate your way to that if what you're used to is self-sacrifice. That's one of the things I work on. I will go toe-to-toe. Tuesday, I went toe to
believe
toe
you.
with somebody. I'm like, listen, I love you so much. I have sat there where you are. No.
Yeah.
As just just as an exercise, carve out a half hour. Just carve it. Get in that car or go to Starbucks. While the baby's napping.
Yeah.
While that toddler's napping, besides doing the happy dance that they're napping, read a trashy book. But that's an investment in yourself.
Just
It
give
doesn't have to be
something for-
cash.
yeah.
It's just like, it's time. And as women, as people who stay at home, we have less time than anybody else, which is, we all have the same 60 minutes in a day. But like you said, the whole conditioning, the whole way we're, as a society, approach this is, you've got to do all these things. You got to do all the things. No, you don't.
Well, I also feel like you just mentioned earlier that the more you invest in yourself as a person to grow to be a bigger and better person for yourself, it translates into much more value that you can give your community and your family.
You talk like such an attorney. A bigger and better person. A more fully realized person, says the coach.
Yeah, fully more realized person. Yeah. I love that. A more expressed person.
Right.
And it really
Live into yourself.
And you're living by example, and other people will learn from that. But the smaller you play it in your own world, the less you have a value to give back. And sacrificing for the sake of sacrifice really doesn't do any favors for anybody.
No, and particularly ladies, it does not do any favors for your daughters.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I also have to make a comment on the technology piece. I think the technology piece is so fantastic because, so I have family, all immigrants, and they, specifically the women immigrant family members that I have, they always have picked out jobs that require minimal technology use and minimal English use, because their English, they speak good English, but they have an accent. So if they're in a job where they have to pick up the phones or whatever, they're always a little insecure about that. Or jobs that require a lot of email or getting on the internet, they feel they can do it, but they feel insecure about that. So they always go look for jobs that doesn't require as much of that. And no matter how unhappy the job is, they'll stick to it, because the fear is, well, this job doesn't require me to do all X, Y, and Z that I'm so insecure about, so I have to stay put, because any other job I go to,
I'm going to have to learn all
I'm going to have to learn all that. And you are now taking that excuse away from them.
Right.
And I love that.
Because I owned a software company in the 90s. I did my first tech startup in 1985.
Yeah.
People are like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm like, 35 years. Technology is your friend. And that's one of the things I lead off with, not the technology you use at work. I lead off when we're working, I don't care who you are, whether it's boot camp or one-on-one, and I pick up the technology scary vibe. I talk about how technology can improve your life. And so we look at apps that help you organize things. I put them on project management apps because everybody wants project management. And they're like, oh, I can do this. One of the reasons I can do this successfully is I can translate. I can translate tech to talk, tech to mom, tech to teacher.
So you
tech to
simplify
whatever
it,
it is. I
basically.
simplify. I use their terms.
Yeah.
I don't really simplify it. They think they are, but it's just because I know their language.
Okay.
And I know tech language.
Okay.
So that's a big bridge. And then I teach them tech language. So this is, if you get asked this is what this means, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Because you cannot be scared of technology anymore in the world. It is 2018.
Yeah.
We have to conquer that. And women 40 and up, you used to be able to break a computer by doing the wrong thing. That didn't happen anymore. I've done it. I've crashed the whole computer. But I can't do that anymore because, there are all these things in between.
Don't worry, you're not going to break it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to break it. What's going to happen if I push
Yeah.
this? I'm like, I'll just get it back for you.
Yeah.
That who loves undo, right? Undo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that can be part of it, and it's just intimidating because it's pervasive. So it makes it feel bigger than it really
Yeah.
is. I have one client, 6-figure, and she came and talked to my very first boot camp, which I called something else at the time. And she is, she's been in C-level meeting, like CEO level meetings, that kind of thing, C-suite. And she's never said she doesn't know how to do something. Can we talk about the glass ceiling for a minute?
Yeah, talk about that glass ceiling.
She'll go, well, Amy, can you do this and this and this and this? And she's like, sure, I can do that. And she goes, she talks to her posse, the people who work with her, the people she trusts, and she talks to them and she Googles. And she has the
figures
answer.
that out.
That's how you break the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Because as women, men, you just wouldn't believe how different this is for men and women. Men will never say they don't know how to do anything. They'll apply for a job that they are not at all qualified for. 85% of women will not apply for a job where they don't meet 100%
I didn't know that.
of the things on there. And by the way, half of the stuff on a job description you'll never do. Because they're looking for what we call a unicorn. Somebody who can do this. Nobody exists.
Yeah.
Right? That maintains the glass ceiling. When you're sitting in a meeting of managers and above and you go, I don't know how to do that. You just put that glass ceiling, I'm writing on this week, right back on your head. Because it's in your head.
Yes.
Right? Some of it's external.
Yeah.
Please don't think I'm discounting that. I've been around for a long time. But so much of it is in our heads that we're like, well, I have to be like all transparent. I'm like, what?
This goes back to the part about choosing who you want to be.
Right.
And as difficult as a divorce can be, it is also the ultimate opportunity to sit down and really think about who do you want to be and how this pain can have this great gift of this rebirth, this transition, whatever you want it to be. And that's the beauty of the whole thing.
Exactly. But the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? We're in Atlanta, honey.
We are in Atlanta.
The
and
phoenix rising from the
and you know
ashes.
what? And with everything that can be challenging, we are in a great time to be in Atlanta.
Oh, gosh.
It is such an amazing time to be in Atlanta. So I'm very grateful to be in Atlanta and know people like you.
Who've always been in Atlanta.
Becky, if somebody wants to sign up for your boot camp, or when is the next boot camp happening? I know you have one going on right now.
April.
Okay, next one's in April. And how do they find, tell us how they can find you to either do one-on-one coaching with you or to sign up for your boot camp.
And you can also just sign up for my newsletter so you get my blogs every week.
Give us all of that information.
The easiest place to find all of it is BeckyBerryCoach.com, which is my website.
BeckyBerryCoach.com.
Okay. So you can get to stuff on boot camp. The other thing you can, Facebook, Becky Berry Coach. If you want to find me, type in the words Becky Berry Coach. I will appear. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what else do I do? So LinkedIn, Becky Berry Coach. So all of those places, all of those things. I do Facebook Lives. If you have liked my Facebook page, Becky Berry Coach, like you liked Atlanta Divorce Law Group, then you'll get a notification that I'm doing a Facebook Live. I do them in the evening for obvious reasons. And then boot camp. The best way to find out about that is you can call me. My phone number is on is on my website. It's 404-480-0849. I can't believe I can remember that. And then sign up for my newsletter. Okay. I send out notifications about boot camp, next chapter, different things. I also write a weekly blog post. I just wrote one on terror and panic, which was very well received.
I read them. They're good.
Right? Read this.
I encourage you guys to read
this last one. I got a great email from somebody saying she read it to her daughter who was freaking out about being a senior in college, and she took her through the steps. And then she said the next day she talked to her again, and she'd taken herself through the steps again. That's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah. Then I also do a weekly podcast with Diana Bader, so you can find all that through the newsletter. I don't send out junk. It's really powerful stuff.
So we will to this Facebook Live. Stephanie, who's here with us, she will go ahead and add BeckyBerryCoach.com in the comments section, so you guys can all click on it and go to her Facebook Live. her Facebook page and like it, so you can keep track of all this information that she's giving out, really for free. And it's a ton of value. I've looked at it. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Well, when you sign up for the list, you get to pick one of my 3 best career things.
Yeah.
It's not window shop because it's so intimidating. You throw up your hands and go watch Netflix for 2 hours. But there are 3 other things that are really, really powerful. That I put up. They're my 3 favorite items.
So whether you, obviously we are a divorce and family law firm, but whether you are a divorced man or woman who is re-entering the workforce, Becky is the person for you to speak to. If you are in an unhappy work environment and are afraid of what does the workforce look like for you, if you want to get a job in the same industry or a different industry, Becky's the person to talk to. If you want a sense of community with other people who are transitioning themselves and figuring out what their next chapter is going to be, Becky is the person for you to speak to. And there's another persona that I just came to mind from one of our clients that I think is actually one of our joint clients. The woman or man who lived abroad,
yes,
for some time because her husband or the wife had a career or had a military career somewhere else, and they weren't in the United States for so long. And now it's not even about just re-entering the workforce.
Right.
It's about figuring out life in this country.
Right. In 2018.
In 2018.
Right.
There's some culture shocks there.
Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
Becky is the person to talk to. Becky, did we miss anything?
I think so.
We got to do this again.
Right?
I just think you're so great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for doing this. And thank
this.
you guys for watching. And click on the comments where Stephanie's going to give you guys Becky Berry coaching.com.
No, just coach. Becky Berry Coach.
BeckyBerryCoach.com. Got it.
Thank
you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
this
you.
was so much fun.
Bye-bye. See you next time.